Hello everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today we will see very important concept in system design, that is scaling your application. So we will take one sample example and we will walk through that example throughout this video to explain this concept. So let us consider I have developed one algorithm on my personal computer and which requires a database, and that database is also installed and set up on my personal computer. Now that code is running on my personal computer which takes certain input and gives an interesting output. When I talk about this algorithm with my couple of friends, they really like this algorithm and they wanted to get this code. They wanted me to share that code with them, but as I spent couple of days and nights to develop this or to write this code, I don't wanted to share this code, but I wanted them to use my algorithm. So what I did is I asked them to come to me and give the input for which they wanted that output of that algorithm. So that way they started coming to me. They started giving input to my algorithm, running algorithm on my personal computer, and they take away the output to their own personal computer. So that way, even I was getting a satisfaction that I am they are using my algorithm for certain use. But as more number of friends started coming to me, it's difficult for me to use my personal computer for my own personal use. So what I did is I exposed an API, that is application programming interface. So with the exposing the API, I shared the API endpoint, that is URL, with my friends. With that, my friends can send input data along with this request, and API endpoint will run the my algorithm in the backend on my personal computer, and whatever the output it generates, that will send it back in this response, so that my friends doesn't have to come to me to use my algorithm. They can use my algorithm without being sharing the code. Now that's not just the benefit. Even I am getting a full time to use my computer. And it's not just about my friends. Anyone who has that endpoint or the URL, they can send the input to my algorithm and they will get the output of my algorithm. So that's the benefit of exposing an API. Now from my friends, my algorithm started getting more popular. Now the number of users who started using my API has drastically increased. Now it's become 1000 users. So 1000 people started sending requests to my API to use this algorithm. But after 1000 users, my computer started becoming hanging. It started becoming restarting and shut down. So that triggers a thought in my mind. I started thinking what could have led this situation. What an interesting idea. Oh, my computer was has become quite absolute now. It has a Pentium 4 processor. It has 1 GB RAM and 100 GB hard disk drive. I think this configuration is quite old now, and it's time to buy a new brand computer with a very high configuration, so that maximum number of people can able to send a request to my API. So I bought a new brand computer of a branded new brand company, and with this branded configuration, maximum possible configuration, 10,000 users can happily use my API, and that gave me quite much satisfaction. Oh, 10,000 users, that's quite a milestone. So whatever we have done just now, that is nothing but a vertical scaling. We have increased the configuration of the same PC. We have increased the RAM, hard disk, processor. So scaling your personal computer to higher configuration so that more people can use your application is nothing but a vertical scaling. But again, the problem still not wiped out all over. So there are still multiple problems I started facing. One of the problem is power. So as my area was quite a rural one, so whenever there is high raining, the light goes down and my PC become and shut down. So I wanted to resolve this problem. Sometimes kids used to play in my server room where my personal computer was running, and they used to sometimes just switch off the power button. So that leads to inconvenience to 10,000 users. It unwilling as well. So a thought come to mind again. I moved my application to host on the cloud services. I thought of using a cloud services. So I deploy my API, my application on the cloud. Now there are multiple benefits of using the clouds. There are different cloud providing services like AWS, GCP, Azure, that is Microsoft. So deploying application on the cloud gave me quite a bit of benefits: cost saving, security, flexible mobility, insights, and these are all the benefits of deploying my application to the cloud. Now power issue is resolved now. So my algorithm was getting used by 10,000 users, and it became popular and popular, even more popular. Now a total number of users using my application is 20,000 users. But my cloud service also started going down, because it is my whatever the computer I adopted over there, it is not able to handle a 20,000 of users requesting at a time. So the PC which I bought on a cloud also started becoming hang and getting restarted. So now it's time to think of something which can allow me to send a 20,000 requests at a time. So giving more thought on that, when I face a similar issue long back when I had 10,000 users, what I did, I bought branded computer from market with the highest configuration available, and now I also deployed my application on cloud. What can I do now to serve happily your 20,000 users? And yeah, I got a fantastic idea. What I did is, I bought two new computers with the same configuration which I had on my personal computer. I bought a similar configuration on the cloud. So now I have two PCs with the similar configuration. My one PC is able to handle 20,000 requests, and another PC can also handle a 20,000 requests. So now I have a 40,000 requests can easily served by these two computers. Now whenever user will send a request, on which computer I have to send a request, user will not be aware of how many PCs I have deployed my application. So user can just send a request. It's my responsibility to handle on which computer I need to delegate that request. So to handle that, I have put this load balancer between the client and the server. So load balancer will basically take a responsibility of delegating this request, total number of requests. You distribute the load equally on my two computers. So whenever the first request will come, it will send it to the first computer. Second request, it will be the second computer. Third request, again first computer. So it will keep on continue like the round robin fashion. There can be a multiple strategies to handle this load. Now with this I am able to serve the 40,000 requests happily, and what we have done just now is nothing but horizontal scaling. So ability of your application to serve more number of requests is nothing but a scaling. Increasing total number of PCs to serve more number of requests is nothing but a horizontal scaling. Let us take a note on the differences of vertical scaling and the horizontal scaling. So in vertical scaling there used to be one big computer with very high configuration, and if you need to serve vertical, if you need to scale your application vertically, you need to increase the configuration of your computer. In horizontal scaling you do not have to increase configuration of the same personal computer, you have to increase the total number of PCs, total number of boxes. Now in vertical scaling the load balancing is not required, as there is only one computer which is serving to the request. But in vertical scaling there are multiple computers which are serving the client request, so you need some kind of a load balancer to handle the load. Now in vertical scaling there is a single point of failure. If your single PC goes down, your whole application goes down. But in vertical scaling, even if your one computer goes down, there are other computers which can still serve the request. So vertical scaling is a resilient. Now in horizontal scaling is a resilient. Now in vertical scaling there is a IPC, inter process calls. In horizontal scaling there are a network calls. So usually the inter process calls are quite faster than the network call. So this is one of the disadvantage we have in horizontal scaling. Now the next one is data is always consistent in vertical scaling, but in horizontal scaling, as there are multiple instances of a database, it is not guaranteed that a data is a always consistent state. So these are some of the advantages and disadvantages between the vertical scaling and the horizontal scaling. Now which one to use when you are developing an application? So there are multiple aspects over it. If you are not an if you are a college project, then you can go for the vertical scaling, and as your projects becoming more popular and you started getting a revenue over out of your application, then you can think of horizontal scaling, so that users can get happily use your application and they will not get annoyed. So we have seen the vertical scaling and horizontal scaling, a different aspect of this scaling issues. I hope you like this video. If you like this video, please do subscribe, please click on like button, share with your friends, and if you have any questions, do please comment in the comment section. Don't forget to click on the bell icon to get notified with the next video. Thank you for watching this video.